26 years old, Stanford MBA, CEO worth $4.1 billion, and on her knees, scrubbing marble floors. For 3 months, Aria Laurent, founder and CEO of Laurent Dynamics, endured humiliation inside the lavish mansion of one of the most powerful families in the city. Tonight, she was polishing the grand foyer of the Moretti estate when a sharp voice cut through the silence. "You missed a spot." Aria didn't look up. Camilla Moretti, wife of notorious underworld figure Lorenzo Moretti, stepped over her like she was invisible. Diamonds glittered at Camilla's wrist as she laughed into her phone. Then she paused. "Oh, actually, I'm hosting a charity gala this Saturday. You should come." Aria slowly lifted her head. Camilla's smile was silk wrapped around poison. "Wear something decent. It'll be adorable watching you try to blend in with real society." Laughter exploded from Camilla's designer-clad friends gathered at the doorway. Fresh manicures, luxury handbags, cruel entertainment. Aria lowered her gaze and returned to scrubbing. But inside her mind, she was choosing between gowns. The Elie Saab? No. The custom Alexander McQueen she commissioned in Paris? Yes, that one. Let's see who laughs when she walks in wearing more than Camilla's entire jewelry vault. 3 months earlier, Aria had walked into the Moretti mansion wearing a cheap gray housekeeping uniform she bought from a clearance rack. Her curls were tucked under a modest scarf. No makeup, no jewelry. The employment agency receptionist blinked at her paperwork. "Ms. Laurent, you're overqualified. This is minimum wage housekeeping." "I'm sure," she replied calmly. What the agency didn't know, what no one knew, was that Aria Laurent, the youngest self-made billionaire in the country, had spent 6 months planning this infiltration. Lorenzo Moretti's legitimate company, Moretti International Hotels, had approached Laurent Dynamics for a $250 million partnership. On paper, clean, but Aria's internal intelligence team had flagged irregular transfers, shell corporations, whispers of laundering operations. She could have sent lawyers, she could have hired investigators. Instead, "If I'm investing $250 million, I'm seeing the truth myself," she had told her board. So she became a maid. What she learned. Lorenzo Moretti ran his empire tightly. The hotel chain was surprisingly clean. Whatever criminal ties once existed were being phased out. Financial records were meticulous. He paid his employees well. He remembered birthdays. He treated staff with respect. But his wife, Camilla, treated employees like background furniture. She didn't see people. She saw status levels. Aria endured it silently, gathering evidence, observing behavior, memorizing patterns, until the gala invitation. Mrs. Hana Kim. That evening, the head housekeeper, Mrs. Hana Kim, found Aria in the supply closet. "You're not like the others," the older woman said gently. "You speak too properly. Your hands, they aren't hands of someone who has cleaned for years." Aria smiled softly. "Sometimes people just need work." Mrs. Kim didn't believe her. "Whomever you are," the older woman whispered, "don't let that woman break your spirit." Aria's eyes darkened slightly. "Breaking isn't my weakness." The security problem. 2 days before the gala, the head of security cornered her in the kitchen. Marco De Luca, broad shoulders, observant eyes. "You know you're not really a maid," he said quietly. Aria froze mid-polish. "Excuse me? Your ID is good, not perfect, and maids don't quote business journals from 3 days ago." She set the silver candlestick down. "Are you law enforcement? Rival family?" "No." "Then what are you?" After a pause, she answered carefully. "Due diligence." Marco blinked, then grinned. "You're corporate." She didn't deny it. "So this gala," he continued, "Mrs. Moretti invited you to humiliate you, right? That seems to be the goal. You going?" "Absolutely." His grin widened. "Oh, this I have to see." "Why help me?" she asked. Marco shrugged. "Because Camilla Moretti has needed someone to humble her for 3 years." He extended his hand. "Partners?" She shook it. "Partners." Mrs. Kim appeared in the doorway, arms folded. "You two plotting something?" Marco jumped. Mrs. Kim just smiled knowingly. The whole staff is rooting for you, dear. The call. The night before the gala, Arya made a call from her small staff bedroom. Ethan, her real head of security, answered instantly. Boss, 3 months undercover in a crime family mansion? Are you live? I need the McQueen and the full sapphire imperial set. Silence. Then, you're ending the disguise. Strategically, does this involve Camila Moretti's charity gala? You've been monitoring? Obviously. Arya smirked. She wants to parade the poor maid in front of high society. Ethan laughed. She has no idea who she invited. I want to arrive late. Savage, he said. I love it. Then his tone shifted. Did you get what you needed? Yes. Lorenzo is cleaning house. The hotels are legitimate. The illegal side is being shut down. Then why stay? Arya hesitated. Because Lorenzo Moretti wasn't what I expected. Because he looked exhausted when no one watched. Because I've seen the cracks in his marriage. Loose ends, she said finally. Ethan didn't push. See you tomorrow, boss. The study. That evening, Lorenzo Moretti summoned her to his private study. Dark wood, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling shelves. He stood when she entered. Few employees stood for their staff. You're attending the gala, he said calmly. Yes, sir. My wife invited you to mock you. Arya remained quiet. You don't have to go. He met her eyes. A dangerous mistake. I'd like to attend. He studied her more closely this time. You're educated. Silence. Your hands don't match your story. Then his eyes sharpened. Are you investigating me? Arya's heart pounded. If I were, would you be angry? Depends who sent you. No, dear, I came alone. Why? Because I wanted to know if you were worth trusting. The room fell still. Then something unexpected happened. Lorenzo smiled. And am I? More than you realize. He walked to the door. I've known who you are for 2 weeks, Ms. Laurent. Her breath caught. I run background checks on everyone. He paused. You're not coming to the gala as a maid, are you? No. Good. He opened the door. I look forward to meeting the real you. Then quietly. And Arya? Yes? Destroy her.
The grand Aurora ballroom glittered under crystal chandeliers. Silk gowns shimmered. Champagne flowed like arrogance. At the center stood Camila Moretti, glowing in couture, accepting compliments for her charity work. It's my passion to uplift the less fortunate, she cooed. Her friends exchanged knowing smiles. The foundation was a tax strategy with a photo backdrop. One of them leaned in. Did your loom maid actually show up? Camilla checked her diamond watch. It's past 9. I suppose she realized she'd embarrass herself. They laughed. And then, the ballroom doors opened. Conversation didn't fade. It died. Every head turned. And there she stood. Arya Laurent. The custom Alexander McQueen gown flowed like liquid midnight. Structured elegance, bold, commanding, lethal. The sapphire imperial necklace resting at her throat was valued at $2.4 million, recognizable from global auction catalogs. Her hair framed her face in effortless waves. Her posture wasn't imitation confidence, it was ownership. She didn't look like a maid playing dress-up. She looked like a queen visiting peasants. Near the entrance, Marco DeLuca was openly recording. Across the room, Mrs. Hannah Kim nearly dropped her champagne tray, and Lorenzo Moretti went completely still. Camilla's champagne glass slipped from her fingers and shattered against marble. Silence. Arya smiled and began walking forward. Every step echoed. This wasn't an entrance. It was a reckoning. The confrontation. She stopped 3 feet from Camilla. Thank you for inviting me, Mrs. Moretti, Arya said smoothly, her voice carrying through the silent ballroom. It was thoughtful. Camilla's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I wasn't sure what to wear, Arya continued lightly, touching the sapphire necklace, but you did say something nice. A ripple of whispers spread. That necklace? Isn't that the imperial set? That's worth millions. Camilla finally found her voice. How did you... Where did you get that dress? Arya glanced down casually. Oh, this? I had it made in Paris last year. Sarah Burton sends her regards. The crowd shifted. Name-dropping designers wasn't something housekeepers did. Lorenzo stepped forward. I don't believe we've been formally introduced, he said, perfectly composed. Lorenzo Moretti. Arya extended her hand. Arya Laurent, CEO of Laurent Dynamics. The ballroom exploded. Laurent Dynamics? The tech conglomerate? She's worth billions. Camilla turned pale. You scrubbed my floors. Yes, Arya replied calmly. I was conducting due diligence. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Your husband approached my company for a $250 million partnership. I prefer to see character up close before investing. She turned slightly, addressing the entire room. For 3 months, I cleaned this household. I polished silver. I listened. I observed. Her voice sharpened. And I learned something important. She looked directly at Camilla. Dignity has nothing to do with job titles. Mrs. Kim's eyes filled with tears. I also learned that cruelty says everything about the person giving it and nothing about the one receiving it. Camilla's friends quietly disappeared into the crowd. You invited me here to humiliate me, to parade the poor maid in front of society. She stepped closer. But the joke was never on me. A powerful investor pushed forward. Ms. Laurent? He asked cautiously. Tomorrow morning, she said without looking at him, Laurent Dynamics will formally approve the Moretti Hotels partnership. Gasps again. Lorenzo's eyes widened slightly. Your operation is clean. Your leadership is disciplined, and you treat your staff with respect. She paused. Most of them, anyway. Soft laughter rippled through the room. Camilla trembled. You infiltrated my home. You used us. Marco called out casually from the side. She applied for a job. You hired her. Mrs. Kim added gently. I asked who she was. She said she needed work. She wasn't wrong. More laughter. Camilla turned desperately to her husband. Are you going to let her do this to me? Lorenzo looked at his wife for a long moment. Then he said quietly, You did this to yourself. And just like that, the social execution was complete. 2 weeks later, Arya sat in her real office, floor-to-ceiling windows, city skyline below. Her assistant entered. Mr. Moretti is here. Lorenzo walked in. No bodyguards, no bravado, just a man who looked lighter. I signed the divorce papers this morning, he said. Arya set her pen down. Camilla agreed to a quiet settlement. She's relocating. Silence lingered. She said the gala humiliated her. Did it? Arya asked. No, it removed the illusion protecting her. He stepped closer. I knew who you were after 2 weeks. Arya smiled faintly. I suspected. I could have asked you to leave, but you didn't. His voice softened. I've been in a loveless marriage for 5 years, a business arrangement. Watching you, your discipline, your integrity. I fell in love with you. Arya stood, walked around her desk, and kissed him. When she pulled back, he laughed softly. So the billionaire CEO is dating a former crime boss trying to go legitimate. Former, she teased. Completely out. The hotels are clean. The old world is closed. He touched her cheek. You scrubbed floors to test my character. She smiled. You passed. 6 months later, the Laurent Foundation Gala became the most anticipated charity event of the season. Arya stood on stage, not undercover, not pretending, just herself. This foundation supports service workers, housekeepers, drivers, janitors, the invisible backbone of society. Mrs. Hannah Kim sat in the front row in an elegant gown. Marco wore a suit instead of security gear, uncomfortable but proud. I spent 3 months working as a maid. I learned more about humanity in that time than I did earning my MBA. She glanced at Lorenzo standing at the side of the stage. Sometimes the people society judges harshly are the ones building something better from difficult legacies. Applause thundered. The balcony. Later that night, under city lights, Lorenzo wrapped his arms around her. Camilla sent a message, he said. Oh? She's in therapy. She said you were right about dignity. Arya smiled slightly. Growth is possible for anyone. Even billionaires pretending to be maids? Especially them. Below, Mrs. Kim's voice floated upward. I told you they'd end up together, Marco. You owe me $50. Marco groaned. I need to stop betting against you. Arya laughed, leaning into Lorenzo. From marble floors to a ballroom reckoning, from humiliation to vindication, from suspicion to love. And this time, she wasn't undercover. She was exactly who she chose to be.